To start using the institutional and regulatory tool, visit the link. Set up your username and password and log in. At the top bar, you can find the Home button. This allows you to go back to the home page. You'll also find the manual, where to log out, and how to add a project. To start, type the title of your project and click Add Project. Let's click on Add Project and fill in the required information for your assessment, like the name, country, city, and the institutional restructure, to choose from national, province, or local level. Do not forget to click the Save icon at the right corner. After you save the project, you can see your project name, city, and selected country on the home page. Here you can visit and edit any of the assessments or remove the complete project. So, let's begin with the regulatory assessment section. The main purpose is to identify the existing regulations along the service chain, identify the associated organization at each institutional level for these regulations, and to link the regulations for common use and easy dissemination. The first stage is User Interface. It focuses on sanitation as access to latrine. We have listed for you all possible regulations required under this section. You may now identify the presence of given regulations by clicking on the box and filling up the level, institution involved, and documents. You have the ability to add more than one level, institution, and document related to the regulation. On the bottom part, you'll find a rating section for Level of Enforcement, where 1 is low and 5 is high. Remember to save your changes at any time and before changing to the next section by clicking on the top menu. The same format follows for the other parts of the service chain, such as containment, emptying and transportation, treatment, and reuse. On the bottom right of the page, find the Assess button. This should show the result of the regulatory assessment for all service chain components. The dashboard shows the stages of the service chain and the summarized list of regulations present, as well as missing for the particular service chain. On top of each stage, a color bar indicates the level of enforcement. Find the legend by clicking on Indicator Indexes on the top right. Green shows the service chain is at low risk in terms of proper enforcement of the existing regulations, while red means a lot of regulations for that service chain aren't in place, and the enforcement is also poor. And orange means moderate risk. Go back if you need to update your data input. Also, find the print option for each of the FSM stages. Once regulatory assessment is complete, click on the Institutional Setup Assessment. This part of the ReIAT tool will help you identify FSM-associated organizations in an organizational chart, identify responsibilities of these organizations, identify gaps and overlaps of organizations based on the Fed list. You have landed on the working chart. Here, you create the organizational chart. On the right, find a predefined list of organizations for some levels like national level, province, and local. This list also gets updated from your answers at regulatory assessment. You can always add more organizations and place them in their corresponding levels. To start, click on the National Level button and add the organizations based on your FSM context. Sometimes there are institutions which are only associated with one particular organization, parastatal. For this, use Add Related button. Remove organization by clicking on them. After the organizations are added, establish connections between them by clicking on the Add Connection button. Do not forget to save if you would like to print. The next step after identifying the organizations is to identify the responsibilities of these organizations. The second tab is the Functioning Table. It has a preset standard list of responsibilities for the organizations at each level. These lists are created by referring to the references and the experts from the sector. Remember, unticked responsibilities are assumed to be gaps, and activities undertaken by two organizations are overlaps and are shown in red. Feel free to add new activities by clicking Extra Activities. After saving your inputs, click on the bottom right on Gap Analysis. This is the last segment of the institutional assessment and highlights the gaps of the institutions based on their covered activities. The gap analysis will show you a summary of the list of gaps under each institutional level and provide references for you to refer on addressing these gaps. The assessment of institutions and regulations is better performed when done in consultation with all relevant stakeholders and to have them involved from the early assessment of the entire FSM situation. This creates an enabling environment for development and validation of strategies and policies.